Have you ever been scared or uncomfortable to take action to do something you know you should be doing? Uh-huh. We've all been there. It's hard to do that. Hey, my dear, I'm leadership development coach Kathy Archer and author of best-selling book, Mastering Confidence. Over the last few weeks, I've been teaching you the tool called the Inner Guidance Cycle to get you to take the action you need to take. And today we're moving on to the final step of the Inner Guidance Cycle, which is proceeding into action. Because what I know is many women leaders hit this point in their career where they feel in over their heads and they're wondering if they have what it takes to lead. In my courses, in my book, in my coaching, I give you the inner and outer tools like this one I'm teaching you now to turn that around so that you, my dear, can move from surviving to thriving in both your leadership and your life. Today, as I said, we're going to move into teaching you all about proceeding. Let me get that right. Today I am teaching you all about the final step of the Inner Guidance Cycle, proceeding. Before I get there, I'm going to hop on over and share this into my Confident Women Leaders group. You can find the link up in the notes if you are not in the group. While I'm doing this, what I want to know is share to group. Are you in the group and are you in the 5-day challenge? We've been doing a 5-day challenge this week. And let me share that. Done. Okay. Make sure I shared. We've been doing a 5-day challenge this week, a 5-day confidence challenge. And so put a note in the chat box. Are you in the 5-day challenge in the Confident Women Leaders group? If not, like I say, click the link up in the notes and you can join the Confident Women Leaders group. You can join the 5-day challenge and you can move forward to becoming a more confident woman leader. So let me recap where we've been over the last few weeks. One of the challenges that many women face, as I said, is you get to this point where you feel in over your head. Often that's either sort of that building overwhelm where you have got to the point where you feel like I can't handle what I'm doing. There's so much going on. I'm overwhelmed. Feel like you're going to drop the ball. That might get you to that place of lacking confidence. Often it's something that's happened. For me, at one point I had a huge expansion and that kind of rocked my confidence. I wasn't sure I could deal with all of the things that I needed to do to hire new staff, open new offices, take on the new responsibility. So that one at one point rocked my confidence. At another point in time, we had some disgruntled staff. They filed a grievance against me. That hit me like a ton of bricks. So there are things that happen in our careers that really rock the boat and our confidence takes a hit. And when we get that point, what we often feel like is, I don't know if I've got what it takes. I'm not even sure I want to go to work anymore. For me, I was hiding in a cubicle in the corner trying to avoid everybody because I didn't know if I could deal with everything. And where the mistake is often we wait for ourselves to feel that level of confidence again. We hope at some point we will get that boost of confidence that builds us up and we can just suddenly feel good again. It doesn't actually happen that way. We have to generate that feeling of confidence. And where it starts is with the Inner Guidance Cycle. The Inner Guidance Cycle is the tool that I teach you to use to access what's going on inside of you. Because confidence is an inner game. Confidence is what you think you can do, what you believe you're capable of, not what anybody else does. So it's not what your boss thinks you're capable of doing. It's not what your employees or your husband or your mother or your best friend or your dogs thinks that you can do. It's what you believe you can do. And that comes from your thoughts. And so the Inner Guidance Cycle, your Inner Guidance Cycle accesses those thoughts and your feelings, which as women leaders, we're often trying to push down, suppress, ignore, hide, all of that kind of stuff. But it's an important component to help you become an emotionally intelligent women leader. If you just Google emotional intelligence, you'll be blown away. It is a critical component of leadership. It's the ability to both recognize and manage your emotions so they don't get hijacked from you, because that's what happens, right? We think we're in control, and all of a sudden, bam, we're like in tears, freaking out, ready to fall apart. And so emotional intelligence gives you the ability to manage and harness your emotions and use them in the way that's helpful for you. So the inner guidance cycle, pause, is where we slow down and we start to connect with those thoughts, those feelings, those body sensations, which are all critical components. Then what I taught you 3 weeks ago was ponder. It's looking at those thoughts, those feelings, and those body sensations and saying, hey, is this getting me to where I want to go? What's happening here? I'm feeling hesitant. I'm, finding that anger's building in me. I'm noticing my heart is like solid rock. I'm feeling that tension build in my shoulders, or my tummy get tight. Noticing all that is that ponder stage. We spend so much time running away from all that. We are so busy, we're go, 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 that we rarely slow down to connect with what's truly going on inside of us. So when we pause, which is the first step of the inner guidance cycle, and then ponder, what we can do, and this is what I taught you last week, is start to pivot that thinking. Is this where I want to be? No. Okay, where do I want to be? What are the thoughts, the feelings, and the actions that are going to get me there? And it's when we can do that consciously that we start to do that pivot piece and go, oh, okay, now I know I need to do this. And sometimes that's something like, having that conversation with somebody that's a little bit overbearing. Perhaps it is setting boundaries with someone who continually interrupts you. Maybe it is leaving work at 5 o'clock and letting go at the end of the day instead of being that control freak. Perhaps the action you need to do is take a day off and recuperate. Perhaps the action that you have to do is bring your staff together and talk about what's been going on and stirring underneath and some of that drama and things that are taking your team to that toxic place that you don't want to go to. That's what happens when we pause, ponder, and pivot. We realize that there's a step we need to do, an action we need to take, a conversation we need to have, a decision that is going to move us in a certain direction. And so, hi, welcome. Good to see you joining. I love it when I say hi and people quickly jump off. Don't jump off. I'm not going to put you on the spot. Join in the conversation though. And, if you are watching the video now or following on the replay, just, wave, say hi, give me a thumbs up, ask me questions though, because here's the thing about this. And this is why I love the 5-day challenge that we're doing that I talked about at the beginning in the Confident Women Leaders community. You can watch these Facebook Lives all you want, but if you're not doing the work, taking the time to put these ideas and these concepts into action, it's really, really hard to make the changes that you want. Side note. So I've been talking about the steps of the inner guidance cycle. They're all outlined in Mastering Confidence in detail. And I give you exercises to go through each of these steps: pause, ponder, pivot, and now we're talking about proceeding. There is also a free course inside of Mastering Confidence to go through this as well. The link for all of that is up in the notes. You can get the free course. If you are not an Audible member, you can get the book for free. You can listen to the first few chapters on the link up in the notes. I mean, it's all there, free. But you got to do the work. And if you need help with doing the work, and again, the link is up in the notes, at the end of the month, I'm starting a summer book club to go through Mastering Confidence together. It's called the Mastering Confidence Intensive. And you are going to learn to develop lasting confidence. You are going to create a learning community, a network of other women also reading this, also struggling with some of the similar things that you are, and lean in. That's what I notice in the Confident Women Leaders group. We, as I said, in this challenge, we're doing posts every day and we're talking about what's going on. And it's so interesting to watch one woman be brave and share some of the insights she's learned from the exercises in the challenge. And for another woman to hop on and go, I feel the exact same way. So validating. We often think we're wrong or bad or something's wrong with us or we're inept because we feel or have those thoughts. That's not true. That's normal life. I was saying yesterday, if you don't think that I sit here every day when I'm talking to you and start to question, who's Kathy to share this information? What are they thinking about what I'm saying? Those thoughts all go through my head. But what gives me the confidence to still stay here and talk to you week after week after week is the ability to go through that inner guidance cycle and question those thoughts, question those feelings. Ask myself, are those feelings of doubt going to get me where I want to go, which is impacting the leadership community greatly? No, if I continue to doubt myself, I'm never going to make the difference for you that I know I have the capacity to do. And so that's what allows me to proceed back into action and get my butt in front of the camera week after week after week, even though, and this is the truth, guys, even though those lingering doubts show up every single week. I've been doing this for a year and a half now. Before that, I did YouTube videos. I mean, I've been showing up week after week after week for you guys. Those doubts still hit me. I still have that negative chatter that says, Kathy, you're a fool for doing this. Nobody's paying attention. Nobody wants what you've got. And then when I pause, ponder that and look at the thoughts I'm having, the feelings I'm having, the body sensations I'm having, and say, is that where I want to be? Is that what I want to listen to? Is that going to help me get where I want to go? No. I can proceed back into action. And the challenge we have here is that, again, as I said earlier, we are waiting to feel confident before we take the action. Most of the times when you go through this inner guidance cycle, you realize, I've paused, I've pondered, I've pivoted. Oh shit. Now I got to do something that I don't want to do. I don't want to have that conversation. I don't want to tell my boss that. I don't want to ask for that. I don't want to do that. It's going to feel uncomfortable. Hell yeah, it might. And what we're waiting for is the level of confidence. What we have to do is step forward with courage. Courage and confidence go hand in hand. And so rather than waiting for the level of confidence to hit you, you need to evoke that sense of courage in you and step forward bravely, even though it feels uncomfortable. The laws of physics say an object at rest stays at rest, but an object in motion stays in motion. You have to start getting into motion. That's that level of courage. You've got to have the courage to take that step, even if it feels uncomfortable. And so it's taking that step, that stepping out courageously, that's going to give you an increased level of confidence. Once you have that tiny little increased level of confidence, you're going to have more courage to take the next step. Once you have more courage, what's going to happen? More confidence. And it's that spiraling loop. And so that's the mistake that we often make, is waiting for a level of confidence before we step forward bravely. What I want you to do is start evoking courage. If you're going to do this final step of the inner guidance cycle, pause, ponder, pivot, and proceed forward. You're going to have to proceed forward with a level of courage. So the two steps to do this, to proceed forward, once you've sort of done this work to decide where you want to go, the first one is to connect to that future vision. I said that a minute ago, right? We've done the pivot. That's what I taught you in last week's lesson. If you haven't watched last week's lesson, go back and find last week's Facebook Live video. I do them every Thursday at noon. Go back and find the one on pivot. Pivots talks about, here I am, but where do I want to be? How do I make that perspective shift? How do I see things differently? How do I get to that point where I want to go to? So that's the first step for proceeding forward, is connecting to that vision. It's that vision about the type of person I want to be, the impact I want to have, the influence I want to have over my team. All of that vision is going to give you the courage to go forward. That's going to be your motivation to step forward bravely. That's going to be your motivation to be courageous, even though it feels uncomfortable. So that's the first step. Connect to that vision. The second step is to break that action down into tiny pieces. What often happens is we are trying to roll this big, humongous snowball. Remember I said an object at rest stays at rest, an object in motion stays in motion. We're trying to roll a big snowball. What I want you to do is start with a teeny tiny little piece of snow, right? Smaller than your hand. And once you start getting it going, it gains, it grows bigger and it gains speed as it hopefully goes downhill instead of uphill. But it gets bigger. And that's what I want you to do. Break it down into teeny tiny little steps. So if you choose to, if you're going through the inner guidance cycle has given you a step, so you've paused, you've pondered, you pivot, and you go, there's my thing that I need to do. What we often see is the big picture. So break it down. Maybe what you've decided is I need to go talk to that person about that thing that's been happening between the two of us. What you might want to do is break it down into steps. Okay, I need to get clear first on the message I want to share. So I need to schedule 15 minutes of reflective time in to journal some notes about what's the message I want to give her, or how do I want to start it, or him if I need to, address something that he said to me, or however it is. But you might first need to schedule some time to reflect about what's the message, what's the impact you want to have, what's the outcome of that conversation you want to be. See, I'm connecting you to that vision again, rather than diving into that conversation headstrong with that same apprehension that you've been feeling. Connect to that vision first. So first step might be to schedule some reflective time. Second step might be to actually book time to talk to that person. So it's not actually there yet, but you're going to book that time to talk to them. So you might have to send them an email. You might have a quick conversation with them, a text. However, hey, can we talk tomorrow afternoon? Do you have a few minutes where you can squeeze me in? Right? So those are 2 steps before you even get to the conversation. That's the second step of this proceeding forward piece. First step, connect to that vision. Second step is break it down into the tiniest steps you can. See it as these little teeny baby steps that you're going to take and move forward. And then finally, take that first action step. That's what's going to move you through that sort of uncomfortable thing that you need to do, that thing that feels awkward, weird, scary, so that you can move forward and have the impact you want, feel the way you want to feel, be the type of person you want to be, leave the legacy you want to leave, all of that kind of stuff. Right? That's what leadership is all about. Leadership is about making your difference from your authentic self. It's not about, powering through and telling everybody what they need to do. It's not about, just sitting back and letting everybody do what they need to do. It's that place where you are guiding and leading powerfully, strongly, from a place of you authentically, that strong integrity place, courageous place. But you have to get there by connecting to that. So that's what I want you to do, is really start to go through the steps of the inner guidance cycle so that you can do that. Now, as I said in the beginning, I've been teaching this for the last few weeks, and with each week I've given you guide sheets. So the first guide sheet was all about, I don't even have the right one in the right order. The first one was the inner guidance cycle, and it gives you the image of it, right? So if you go up to the link in the notes, you're going to find one that says all of the guide sheets. If you click on that one, you will get to my webpage that has all of these guide sheets listed out, and you can grab whichever one you want or grab all of them. So the first one was the inner guidance cycle all outlined. On each of these, not the first one, but each of the second ones, I've also given you a link or a section of Mastering Confidence. So you actually get a piece out of Mastering Confidence, which is one of the exercises. So the inner guidance cycle was the first one. You can grab that. The second one was learning to pause. And in learning to pause, again, what I gave you was the exercise out of Mastering Confidence, but I also gave you books that you might want to look at that help you learn to pause, some apps that are going to help you. The third one was pondering. And I've given you some exercises in the third one, some questions to ask yourself to help you do that pondering piece around what are the thoughts, feelings, body sensations I'm having. Giving you some books to help you ponder. Then this week, we're talking about learning to proceed. So today's guide sheet, I've given you those 2 steps. And again, some questions to help you work through those 2 steps, some space to do some of this inner work. and some books to help you with proceeding forward. So lots of links for you there. Lots of opportunities. Again, this is all outlined in Mastering Confidence as well. So the link is up in the notes to get the free stuff for Mastering Confidence, the book on Amazon, all of the guide sheets to help you learn how to do this inner guidance cycle. This is the really important piece, is learning how to do that. If you want to study Mastering Confidence this summer, if you want to learn in a learning community, if you want to learn how to bounce back. As we said at the beginning, your confidence is going to get hit a zillion times in leadership. That's just the way it is. That's never going to change. I still, as I say, feel that level of, should I be doing this every time I stand up in front of this camera and talk to you? But it's that inner guidance cycle and mastering that inner guidance cycle that helps you bounce back and move forward confidently much quicker. Even though it's scary, even though it's awkward, even though it's been something that's been a real big hit to you. So if you want to do that, join the Mastering Confidence Intensive. We are going to study and lock in this inner guidance cycle so that you can truly develop lasting confidence. Again, that's up in the notes, silverrivercoaching.com/MC intensive. I hope you join me for that. And next week I am away. I'm holidays, so there is no Facebook Live next week. But the following week, I'm going to talk about putting this on repeat. So I hope you'll join me for that. If this has been helpful to you, please share in your news feed. Please share with your colleagues. We all know some women leaders who are struggling with confidence, and the more we support our peers, our colleagues, the better our working environment's going to be. So share this, share Mastering Confidence, share the worksheets. We can all sort of develop that level of confidence that we need to work through that inner guidance cycle, pause, ponder, pivot, proceed. And that way, my dear, we will all be moving from surviving to thriving in both our leadership and life. Go make the rest of your day awesome.